What's going on, friends? Welcome to another episode of the You Glow Nurse podcast with me, your host, Fallon Lopez, RN, BSN, Certified Health and Wellness Coach, and CEO of Are You Well? I'm so happy you're joining us on another amazing conversation in season 4. Season 4 is all about restoring your purpose, redefining your purpose. As nurses, our self-care, our health, our healing can get the back burner because of our need to serve, because we want to help others. That is our part of our purpose. That's part of our passion. It's important to us, but our own self-care, our own healing, health and healing can sometimes stay in the back burner, maybe on purpose, maybe non-intentional at times, but this podcast is all about elevating the profession, giving us the tools that we can use to further ourselves in nursing, and also while giving back to ourselves, while putting ourselves first. And season 4, we've been talking to so many amazing nurses and how they were able to just pivot in their passions and move forward in times of maybe like uncertainty, times when they were unsure about their purpose and what it meant to be a nurse. I know I've experienced that before. Last episode, I shared with you that there was a time that I walked around without feeling like I had a purpose, I had passion, or without a passion. And a lot of this just stemmed from upbringing. As a Latina nurse, I had a strict upbringing, a lot of expectations put on me about, what I should be, what it should look like. Education was so highly prioritized in my family. There was a lot of strict expectations for me as a Latina, and it just made me grow up with this kind of unhealthy view of myself, and not to blame just my parents. I made some decisions along the way, but a lot of the influences came with my background. And my parents tried their very best. They did what they could with what they had, and I thank them for it. But now I had to move past that and learn to take back control, take back my self-care, my health and healing, so that I can move forward in this purpose God has given me. So season 4 has been all about how do we show up again? How do we redefine our purpose if we feel like we've lost it? And today I have a wonderful guest who is going to share with us, Miss Tina Loarte-Rodriguez. And she is the author of Latinas in Nursing, the new book that I get to be a part of that just released September 1st. So it's such an honor to bring her on right after our release. We're so excited, and there's so many things that are coming because of this book. It's definitely a monumental thing. So make sure you go grab it. Check out our website. We have a virtual event coming up soon for National Hispanic Nurses Day, September 22nd. If you didn't know, make sure you put it in your calendar. Celebrate you, Latina nurse. I see you. So yeah, I'm excited to bring on Miss Tina Loarte, who is dedicated to leaving the world a little better than she finds it. She is an internal optimist who believes in the power of community, kindness, and growth. Her professional experience includes teaching and over 17 years of nursing in various healthcare settings and specialties. She currently is the Associate Director of Health Equity Measures at the Yale Center for Outcomes Research and Evaluation, also known as CORE, actively collaborating with national and international experts in health equity measures and outcome research. A first-generation college student, she is a graduate of Cornell University, UCONN, and Quinnipiac University. Tina is a Hartford Business Journal Healthcare Hero Award and the Connecticut Nursing Association an Excellence in Team Award winner as well. Tina has published several books, including her recent book, Latinas in Nursing. Tina works hard and she plays even harder. She loves dancing, traveling, and reading. An Afro-Latina Boricua, born and raised in the Bronx, New York, she now resides in Connecticut with her incredibly supportive husband, their 3 phenomenal children, her father, and 2 rescue dogs. What a wonderful bio. Let's bring out Miss Tina Loarte-Rodriguez.
Hi, Fallon.
Hi, Tina. What's going on? I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. So excited to see you.
Oh my
Yay.
goodness. We've been working really hard, y'all, on
We
the
have.
books. So
Yes.
make sure you go check it out. The link is going to be in the show notes so that you can join. All right, Miss Tina, I
Hey.
want to know,
Yes.
how has letting go of perfection helped you in finding your purpose?
That's an excellent question, Fallon. And I really, resonate with your intro there about how expectations were put on us when we were younger. And again, to echo your sentiment of, our parents did the best that they could. And they did better than what their parents could do. And hopefully now we're doing better, than our parents. And it's about breaking that cycle of whatever it is, is it of poverty? Is it of lack of education? But for me, I was really fortunate to realize that it's okay to make mistakes, and that's how you grow and learn. Because I've been making mistakes my whole life. I make mistakes on a daily basis. And so I've really been able to find those opportunities of those failures and those mishaps to lead me to, I think, something greater and something bigger. It really instilled in me of, everything happens. You might not understand it. It might not make sense to you at the moment, but trust it and really kind of be patient with it. And so, especially as a nurse, it took me a while to realize that, things happen, mistakes happen, errors are made. And I think even as a student nurse is probably when I really learned it firsthand, was that I don't know everything and I'm never going to know everything, right? Like that's the other thing, like let that go. All of y'all listening out there, like, no, there's no way that you're going to learn everything or know everything. You just have to be committed to know when to stop and ask for help and resources, and always be curious to find out more. So I think a combination of both growing up and then definitely as a nurse made me realize, perfection doesn't exist and it's okay. You're human. There's nothing perfect about being human, and just really embrace it and be comfortable with it.
Oh, yes. Yes. Nursing was that, like, kind of like slap in your face reality check. It's not perfect. You can't be
Exactly.
perfect at this. You cannot.
Exactly.
So same here. I was like, oh, okay. It's different than the
Mhm.
books and the scenarios that, the plan of care, the care plans. There it goes.
Right.
When it comes to real life. But why do you think we're like so stuck on perfection? Like, I know we say it a lot, like it may
Mhm.
be, like heard, or like you may have seen it on social media, like, oh,
Mhm.
perfection, it's not perfection, it's progress over
Mhm.
perfection.
Mhm. Mhm.
Why do you think we're so stuck on this perfection idea, this belief that it has to be perfect? Maybe subconsciously
Mhm.
you may be in it, in this belief, or knowingly, like it's got to be this type A personality. Like, I don't know if you've seen anything in your own, like why you were so stuck to perfection.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of influences to why we sometimes get stuck in that view of, oh, I have to be perfect. I have to do it. I definitely feel like society is a big driver to that. Even before social, definitely I remember growing up and feeling that within the class of, oh, these are the students that got, principal's award, or these are the students that got
Mm.
honorable, or these are the students that are, on this team or that could play this instrument, or these are the students, so definitely feel that it's society's kind of really influence in kind of that perfectionism versus really understanding that everybody has their own individual strengths, and I don't call them weaknesses, I call them opportunities. So like
Mm.
everybody has an opportunity to grow and to learn and to continue to evolve. And I, when I like reflect back on, human beings in general, like it's an evolution, right? Like look at
Mhm.
where we've come and look at where we're at. And I definitely feel that that's been able to help me realize that it's a journey, and things are going to happen along the way. So I definitely feel that society has really constricted that, but I'm really hoping now, with a lot of like the positivity, and the acceptance, and also the realism, right? Like we got to
Yeah.
be real too, right? Like, yeah, it's hard, and we also have to check ourselves if and when we're putting those expectations on ourselves or even on others, right? Like stop us from perpetuating those barriers and those ideas of, oh yeah, like you didn't do it in this way, or how come you did it this way? Because that's how it happened, right? Like that was life. Life happens. I don't get to always pick how it happens, but it's how I am able to be resilient and to navigate it and to learn and grow from it.
Oh my gosh, yes. The way we respond to things is
Mhm.
also like how I like to say or see it.
Right.
Like I can't control what's going to happen tomorrow. I can't
Mhm.
control what happened in my past, but I can control like my response to it, like how I
Mhm.
allow it to um, affect me or get to
Mhm.
me or get under my skin. I think same here. Like I uh those expectations, like I said earlier, and
Right.
you were echoing to it, like it's something in our culture as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
As Latinas, we are, they try their best, education,
Right.
you know, what what are the Joneses gonna say? Not knowing that it's like, what? Like I don't want to think about what the Joneses are gonna say, like, but it had a there was an endearing part to what our parents, what our elders were trying to do,
Mhm.
just to help push us forward. But I hear you just saying, like, like
Yeah.
we're breaking those generational things that kept us. I don't like to say
Yeah.
curses or anything like
Right.
that, but
The
things that
cycles,
just like
right.
the
Yep.
cycles, exactly, like the
Yep.
cycles that may not serve us in the next
Yeah.
season
Yeah.
of our lives. So how are you? You're doing it, Tina. Like your journey, like
Yeah.
enjoying the process, going through the process. Like you are now Dr. Tina Loarte
Yeah.
Rodriguez.
Yeah.
So how has that been in your process? I want to hear a little bit more about letting go of the perfectionist in
Sure.
your own non-traditional nursing experience.
Yeah.
How has that been for you?
Yeah. Well, definitely something that I'm very proud of. And the one thing that, my parents did instill with me was, kindness, but also education. So I was always curious and always reading. And kind of thankfully along my path, guided to learning and being exposed to higher ed and other opportunities. And talking about breaking the cycles, like the educational cycle in my family was that, my grandparents either had an elementary school education or didn't have any, right? Because that's how it was. They had to go work to support the family. But then they wanted better for my parents. And so then my parents were able to both graduate from high school. And then my mom actually has her associates. And then because of that continued of, the next generation is going to do better, my parents have both instilled in me that, you're going to go on and go to college and be a doctor or be a lawyer or be a police officer. Those were the three. And I was like, okay. But, thankfully, growing up in, the Bronx, I was around a lot of people who looked like me and came from my same background. But once I got to high school, it was definitely a big mix. And I started to see more white students, more Asian students, instead of just the Black and Latinos that I was in with before. And I got to really, again, because of my aptitude, I was able to be in some of those higher classes, the honors classes, the advanced classes. And so that was exciting, but it was also a little bit of challenge. English was one that I could not, master. And I was like, oh, like I could never get like higher than I get 85 in English. And it was always like something I struggled with. And interesting now, like I have my doctorate and I also wrote a book. So like those of you who feel like you can't write, you can. Don't worry about it.
Hmm.
Practicing, it's a skill. It'll get there. And then, I left from a public high school in the Bronx to go to Cornell University. Like that was a huge wake up call. I remember my first semester, my first test, I got a D. I was like,
Mm,
this is my major. This is what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life. How did I get a D? And I was like, okay, this focus. Actually, I think I came home that weekend. And I just needed a break, right? Like it was so many
mm,
changes being in this dominant white environment, not having, comforts of home, not having the comforts of my culture, and just kind of also not knowing how to study, right? That was a big part of my journey. Like things were easy for me in elementary and high school, and now they weren't in college, and I had never learned how to study. So that was a process too, which, to be honest, I actually didn't learn to study until I was actually a teacher.
mm.
Ironically enough. So those of you who feel like, you have some challenges, it's okay. Definitely use your resources, but then also, maybe try teaching, because then maybe that'll help you. And like, you don't have to be like a designated teacher. Like go try to teach, a family member or like somebody else. Hey,
Mm.
let me tell you about this concept that I'm learning at school, and maybe that will help you click it with it.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
But it was really, there that I realized that, yeah, I'm gonna fail, and I'm gonna, not, do well, and that's okay. Just figure it out. There was this little mantra that eventually came to be of, hey, C's get degrees. It's all good. Like,
Uh-huh,
I'm
uh-huh, uh-huh.
gonna graduate. I'm still gonna get that paper, and there it is behind me right there. Um,
Hey.
but it was definitely a journey. And then especially as a young nurse too, coming into seeing, in the clinical setting, the nurse leaders with the MSNs, and then with the alphabet soups behind their names, with all their certifications stuff. I was like, wow, like that, I want to do that. And a quick little story about that is that, as a new nurse, I was actually an operating room nurse, and I was there for about 4 years total. And I had wanted to be certified as an operating room nurse. I failed the test the first time by 7 points. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it again. I still failed it again by 7 points the second time. And then I paid for it the third time. And then my time window to take the test expired. So I never even got to take it. So my first specialty was operating room nurse, and that was the one that I started to take certification tests for, and I never achieved it. And there was one point that I was like, that one still bothers me. And I'm like, I have three certifications now. It's all good. Like it did not stop me from progressing in my career and in my journey. So, it's okay, especially, when we're in school and we feel like we fail a test, or if we fail the boards, it's not the end of the world, right? Like you can
Mm.
do it again. It's okay.
I love that. I love that. Oh, I hear so much just like this self acceptance, self
Yes.
compassion that you kind of have to form if you're letting go of these like perfectionist beliefs, especially when it comes to failures. Like
Yes.
we hear all the glamorous, like,
Mhm.
oh, Dr. So and so, all the alphabet soup behind them, but we don't really know. And then, like you put yourself kind of down and you're like, oh, I've done this to myself where I
Of
put myself
course.
down. I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't know if I can do that. I want to do that. It's something about us in us that may resonate because we
Right.
want to grow. We want that, to further in our purpose and our passion as nurses. But then we don't know the failures behind
Mhm.
it, the growth that had to happen behind it. So it's not really spoken about, like
Right.
in the journey. Like you're going to experience failures. Failures are okay.
Yeah.
My dad, he used to say, failure is not an option.
Mhm.
Like, and so I thought to me that I
Mhm.
can't fail. Like I have to be good at everything.
Yeah.
But looking back, maybe he was saying like failure is not an option because it's not going to be the end of you. Like you're gonna fail. Like
Right.
it's bound to happen. Like if you
Mhm.
want to grow, if you're ambitious, if you're gonna
Right.
do things, like you're gonna mess up.
Right.
You're gonna be bad at
Right.
things, especially when
Right.
you first start, right?
Yeah.
So like kind of like restructuring those beliefs around failure has really helped me in just everything, like how I see life. And it's something that I help my clients with, like if you're going to start a workout plan, if you're going to start,
Oh,
like
yes.
trying to change your habits, trying to eat better, like you're
Mhm.
going to mess up, but don't
Mhm.
throw away the whole diet. Don't throw away
Exactly.
the whole self-care. Like
Right.
continue. It's a
Right.
journey, it's a
Yeah.
process. And we were talking about this earlier. Like you can
Mhm.
choose to enjoy your journey.
Right.
You can choose to embrace it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think along that way too is also being patient with yourself and giving yourself grace, right? Like
Yes.
actually one of my first mentors, an OR nurse, Greg Brown, he said, he's like, you need to give yourself time. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, time represents things I must earn. TIM.
Mm.
And he was like, exactly, the knowledge that, and I was like, wow. And that's always resonated with me. And it's true. Like you have to give yourself time to navigate, to figure it out, to get comfortable, to get better at it. Because a lot of it is skill building, muscle memory. And there's just, there's again this pressure from, family, from society, sometimes even ourselves, right? Like for my
I
doctor,
love when you said that
my
earlier. Check
yeah,
yourself.
yeah. For my doctorate journey, I was like, oh, I was going to be done by December 2022. Nope, I just finished last month. And that's okay, right? Like that's
Yeah.
okay because I still have the paper. I still got the
You
degree.
still did it.
I still did it. I still progressed with my profession, in my employment. And it doesn't make a difference that it was 9 months later than I had planned. No, plans are good. Setting goals is definitely something to, I think, to keep us structured and to keep us accountable. But be patient and give yourself grace because life happens, and you need to, again, enjoy the journey to be able to really fully embrace it and evolve.
Yeah. We were actually talking about grace, and it's like this overarching theme. It has been kind of over the last few episodes, and I was even talking to Wendy. I had Wendy
Oh, I
on
love
my
it.
podcast, and she's
Yes.
an amazing. I think y'all were in the same cohort
Yep.
or
Yep.
something. Y'all were,
Yep.
yeah, that's amazing. And she was just like, and she's like this go-getter, high achiever
Mhm.
nurse, like very much in her purpose and her passion.
Yes.
And that's been one thing that's helped her like
Yes.
sustain it, like giving yourself grace. And then you just added another level to it, like the time, the patience,
Right.
like that word patience. I never had patience for nothing.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah. And
I wanted
especially
to
now,
be it.
yeah, especially now in this society where it's instant gratification. Like, no, if you work out once, it's not going to be a change. Or no,
You're
if
not
you
gonna have those 6 abs.
no,
Oh,
no.
thanks.
Or if you did this, if you bought the food, no, it's not. You're not going to lose the weight. Like, there's so much more to it. And if you have the
Yeah.
book, that doesn't mean that you're gonna, know everything. So
Mm,
it's again, it's that commitment, that repetition, that discipline. Um,
yes. And those aren't sexy words. They are not.
But they should be. Let's change the narrative. Let's
Let's
change
change
the
it.
narrative. Like, I'm disciplined. That's sexy.
That is sexy. Like I'm naming it. I'm
Right?
naming it and claiming
That's
it. It is
right.
sexy.
Being
Discipline.
disciplined is sexy.
Yes. Grits, having
Yes, that's
determination.
right.
Like that's something
Yeah.
that is so, yeah, important to me. There's this Bible verse that I was like even looking at, like the righteous fall down 7 times, but they still get up. Like
Mhm.
you will experience the fall downs. Like it's
Yeah,
part of life. Like it's gonna happen to you. But the thing is that you still get back up.
right.
You
Right.
still continue on and maybe pivot. You learn some
Exactly.
things, you grow some muscles, you
Yeah.
you learn some endurance, you learn some patience along
Mhm.
the way. And it's beautiful that in your new book, Latinas in Nursing,
Woo-hoo.
we are sharing our different stories. There are
Yeah.
so many amazing nurses that
Oh
have
my
done that.
God.
And
Yeah.
in community, when you get out there, like when you on social media, it can seem like so just like, oh, it's beautiful, it's this,
Mhm.
it's that. But there are
Mhm.
stories behind that. So I'm curious to know, like, how did you come to this place, to this idea of the Latinas in nursing? Like, what brought you here? And tell
Yeah.
us more about your book.
Sure, absolutely. And of course that you're a featured author, so it's our book. It's our book.
Our book.
So yeah, the idea came to me really at the end of 2020. It was, really taxing dealing with the pandemic. At that time, I was the vice president of FQHC, the vice president of nursing at FQHC. So I was out at the clinics or in the community every day, figuring out the new workflows, trying to get the information about COVID, starting to understand the testing, and it was just draining. I was definitely morally injured from the experiences, as I'm sure so many other people were as well. So many other healthcare workers and frontline essential workers who didn't have the luxury of staying home and waiting it out. Like, we were out there day in and day out. And for me, a source of comfort is reading. And I was out there looking a couple of days when I was like a really low point. I was like, I need something to help pick me up. I need something to um, give me, again, fire and to help me, really pull through this. And it took me about a week or so, and I was doing all these searches, and I couldn't find one book written by a Latina nurse about Latina nurses, about their story, about their journeys. I found a handful of books on Black nurses, and I was like, this is sad. Like, this can't be. So thankfully, in that search, I did find the National Association of Hispanic Nurses. I joined, and from there, the rest is history, because I met so many of the other authors in our book, and have been a proud member now of that organization for around 3 years. So if you don't know, there is an association, National Association of Hispanic Nurses. There's a lot of other places too that you can find kind of community, not just based on the American Nursing Association or your specialty, but there's a men's and nursing society. There's a Black nurses as well. So there's definitely places out there for community. But it was then over like 2021 and 2022, I started going out to some conferences and started to hear people speak about their stories and journeys. I was like, wow, this is powerful. I started doing some lectures and presentations, and yeah, I know the data, and yeah, I know the science, but I always start with a powerful story, right? And for me, that's my narrative. I do a story. I'm a storyteller. So that was where the idea started brewing. I was like, there needs to be a book about Latinas and nurses. And it was finally by like 2021 that I was like, all right, I'm going to write it. And then I had to figure out how to fund it. So I was like, espérate. I was like, okay, how do I do this? So I stalked all these publishers. I like grilled them. I did all this research. I figured out other, methods of it. And thankfully, finally, and then 2022 was all about funding it, finding those sponsors for it. That didn't happen. That was a hard journey. I was like, oh, come on. And people were like, yeah, this is great. I love it. Believe it. I believe in it. Let me send you to this one. Oh yeah, send me the information. I'll get back to you. 6 months later, hi, it's me again, So even trying to fund it was a journey, but I was very determined. I was like, nope, nothing's going to stop this from happening. And so thankfully, at the beginning of this year, my husband and I were able to have, a really honest conversation about kind of my vision, our finances, and thankfully he agreed to sponsor the book with me. So I was so happy. And then from there, the rest is history, because then I was able to, really procure 15 phenomenal Latina nurses who really trusted me in this process. Some who I knew, some who I didn't. And really saying, like, this is the mission of Latinas in Nursing, to be a place for us to celebrate our stories and our accomplishments, our challenges, our failures, and to really make it about us, by us, for us, so that it can be a sense of or a source of light for others, but really for Latinas, who either are in nursing or who want to be nurses or who are curious about nursing, to let them know that, yeah, you can do it too. And so that's really kind of what I see for this. Again, my philosophy is that nurses, because we're so highly skilled, need to be everywhere where decisions about people are being made. And then with that, Latina nurses need to be, because, the Latino population is, soon to be, if not already, the largest ethnic group in the States. Plus, globally, like we are very large in numbers, not the largest globally, but very large. And there's power in that, right? And be that there was not even one book that highlighted this power. I just was like, nope, I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna change that. And so Latinas in Nursing was born, volume 1, because there's so many of us. I already have a list for volume 2. There's been calls for Latinos in nursing, and I'm like, yeah, let's get it, let's do it. And so, I'm really, again, just really proud of our collective trust and commitment to this mission, and to being brave and being vulnerable to put ourselves out there. But the response has been overwhelming. It's been overwhelming. Like, there's so much gratitude and appreciation. There's, I think, even some relief I've been hearing and talking to people about, like, I thought I was the only one, and now I know I'm not. Or I didn't think I could do this, but now that I've read the book and know a little bit more, I feel I can do it. And so those are the stories that, just, again, fill my cup, keep me committed to, balancing and harmonizing all the other competing priorities in my life, to ensure that, Latinas in Nursing does get to be, the book of influence and support for, definitely for Latinas in nursing school, but hopefully as they graduate, and those even who are interested in nursing.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. It's been a journey. It's been a journey. To bring this book into fruition, and I just love it, and it's a story of determination. And wow, I did not know that you and your husband came together to put it together and fund this whole movement that is happening. So shout out to your hubby. I hope to maybe meet him virtually soon, so I could say my thank yous and appreciations for y'all coming together. That's purpose partnering right there. I love that. I see something right there. Yeah, for sure. Just being that source of light to the nurses and to the Latina nurses in our community. I think that's so inspirational, to have these sorts of stories, and to have this just inspirational book. Like you said, like, reading helps so much, and it's a way to connect. It's self-care. And my therapist told me, she was like, when I was going through a tough time, she was like, you need to go read some biographies of people, because she suggested it to me, and she was like, just go read some stories, like, just to hear people like you that are doing some things like what you want to do, hearing them overcome, like, that's self-care. And so she was encouraging me to do that. I can't do it before bed, though, because then my brain is just like tick 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 tick.
Exactly. Kind of your time frame. I'm an avid reader as well, and actually I found something that was posted that said the best way to learn is to teach, which I already talked about a little bit.
Yeah, you did say that.
The best way to teach is to write. The best way to write is to think, and the best way to think is to read.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, that's exactly it. That works. Like, that's me.
Yeah. Say that one more time. One more time.
I gotta put up again. So the best way to learn is to teach. The best way to teach is to write. The best way to write is to think. And the best way to think is to read. And that came from Scott D. Clary. So thank you, Scott D. Clary. I love that.
Okay. Breaking it down for us. Like, there is value in reading and hearing and learning about others around
Mhm.
you that are doing amazing things. So if you want to get that inspirational, um, just
Right.
flow going, pick
Yeah.
you up something that's going to pour into you, that's going
Mhm.
to uplift you. And the Latinas in Nursing is the first volume coming, very much, many more coming. I
Yes.
already know because I already know some amazing, phenomenal nurses that
Mhm.
I think I've sent your way. I got a couple more if I haven't sent you
Excellent.
all
Keep
of
them
them
coming.
for sure. Yes. And it's going to be amazing project that's just happening. So make sure you go check it out, y'all. I'm so excited. It has been, yes, relief writing it. And for me personally, to see my words out there, I'm just like, oh crap. I was like, oh crap, it's out there. Wait a second. Let me
Oh,
go read. What did I just had a little bit of a critic moment because I tend to do that to myself. I'm like, what did
stop.
I write?
Put that
Oh my
tia
gosh.
toxica. Put that tia toxica and somewhere else.
Oh my God. Is that who she is? Ooh,
Yeah, that's from
that is so
Camila.
accurate.
Camila from Peloton. That's her saying, stop, get that tia toxic out of your head. Like, don't listen
Oh
to
my
her. Don't
God.
put her away. Say, nope, not today.
Not today, Thea. You
Not
got
today.
the
Yep, gotta go.
evacuate,
Mhm,
evacuate. Like I'm
mhm.
good right here. And so, yeah, after talking to my parents and my family members, it was a relief. I was just like, okay, my words are out there. My story is out there. I am so like, yeah, just every day getting your emails and you're like, do something for you, ladies. Take
Yes.
care of you. We've worked so hard. I love those reminders.
Yeah.
So I want to know, like, what are some self-care things that you're doing right now in this season? As we're wrapping up our conversation, just I want
Sure.
to know as a busybody, as a high achiever, what are some self-care things that help
Yeah.
you sustain you and your purpose?
Most definitely. So I definitely take time for my physical health, my mental health. Um, I feel like I need to probably make some more time for my spiritual health, but I ensure that I am up to date with all my appointments because sometimes we don't follow up even with just our own, doctor's appointments. So I make sure
100%,
that
yeah.
that's because the body, is very important. Thankfully, I actually got that drive of always doing something good for myself from my therapist. After every time we end the session, she's like, "So, what are you doing for yourself?" And she really holds me accountable. And she's like, "No, that doesn't sound like that's for you. That sounds like it's for others. So, what are you doing for you?" So, I have to give her a shout out and say thank you for, instilling that in me. Cause now, as you know, I pay it forward. I do it with the authors, I do it at work. When I meet other people, I'm like, what have you done for yourself today? Like
Yeah.
hydrate, take a break from the
Mhm.
computer or get off the phone or go for a walk. So I definitely try to ensure that I practice gratitude. I have
Yay.
my gratitude journal where I really kind of give myself 5 minutes a day to reflect on what I'm grateful for, things that have happened, or things that I have, because I know I'm privileged and I know I have
Mhm.
so many blessings that many don't have. And so that really helps give me some energy and a lot of completeness. I exercise. I am on Peloton and
I
the
heard you say Peloton. Yes.
my girl though. I did tune day this morning. But really, practicing both, the meditation, that's been really powerful. Also just, doing a 5-minute meditation has really been good. Practicing some deep breathing, listening
Mm.
to music, dancing, massages. Those are my new thing. Like actually, when I was finishing my doctorate and also when I was working on the book, like whenever I submitted a chapter or once I completed another deliverable, I would be like, okay, I earned my massage. I'm going now for my massage. Um, yeah, so I just really make sure that I um, also am self-aware. So if I'm tired, I know, okay, I give everybody the heads up. I'm tired. Probably give me some minute. I need a nap. I took a nap yesterday. Fallon and I were talking about this. I was like, yeah,
Nap queen. Yes.
it was a long week. I needed a nap yesterday, and then I was able to have a good evening with the kids. But I just again I think it's because of my journey and because of where I'm at, and unfortunately because of losing people in my life. And I think also just my own journey with mental health and wellness. I just really learned to stop having expectations and just enjoy the moment for what it is and making the best out of it. And that really has helped kind of overall with my wellness as well.
That is good. I like that one. Letting go of expectations.
Yes.
Yes. Like,
That's hard.
oh yes.
Hard.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But it's a practice. Like I
Yeah.
think we were saying
Exactly.
earlier, like it's
Exactly.
a muscle, like that
Yeah.
you a skill, like a
Mhm.
skill that you have to build. And just because you
Mhm.
may be bad at something doesn't mean you can't get better. So it's like,
Right.
hey, you're working on patience, you're working on
Right.
uh having better self-care, eating healthier, whatever it
Mhm.
is, like whatever you're trying to work on, it's a skill. And when practiced every day, put into action every day, you can get better at it too. It's something that we're all working on at some point in our lives. Like we're
Yeah.
not just all waking up just perfect at everything,
Yeah.
like we gotta
No.
work at things. It's
Regardless of
okay.
what social media says, no, they didn't just wake up that way.
Regardless of what media says. Exactly, exactly. I'm letting go of expectations as well, trying to really
Yeah.
give things and people and situations the benefit of the doubt. Like it's gonna work out, it's gonna be
Yeah.
okay. Like I try to talk to myself like that. My boyfriend really helps me with that. He's like, just give me the benefit of the doubt, and I'm like, oh, okay. And that just leaves me in such a, like, so much of a more clearer space, like so
Yeah.
much of a more like gratitude space. I'm just
Mhm.
like, this is what it is.
Right.
It's okay. Like it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
So I love the gratitude practice as well.
Mhm.
I think whenever my mood is in like a funky mood, I try to like, or when I'm coming from a place of like scarcity, I
Mm.
try to shift it to like, okay, what are three things I am so thankful for right now? Like, and I can
Right.
look around and just bring myself back to the present moment. Like,
Mhm.
sometimes our minds, I was talking to in the last podcast, we were just, talking about anxiety
Yes.
with Keela Ford. Yeah, she's also a
Mhm.
doctorate as well, doctor nurse, a DMP as well. And she was talking about being present in the moment and, how anxiety, we're worried about just everything going on in the future or that hasn't happened, and then depression, we're worrying about just past, and it's like bringing ourselves and actively bringing ourselves to the present, the here and the now. What does that look like? And practicing that on a daily, like I feel like
Right.
practicing gratitude can just help you bring you back to the moment. Like
Mhm.
I'm grateful. I'm just
Right.
grateful that I woke up, I can
Exactly.
walk, have
Right.
my apartment, my
Right.
bills are getting paid. Like, oh,
Exactly.
I do have a lot to be grateful for.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
do have a lot to be thankful for. I
Yeah.
love those self-care practices for
Yes.
sure.
Definitely.
Yes, Dr. Tina, any last words as we wrap up? Anything else you'd like to share with us? Where can we find out more about the work that you're doing and what to expect next from you?
Yeah, yes, definitely come check out the website, latinasinnursing.com. We have information about the book. You can actually go and get the book there. It's also available on Amazon, but you can go on the website and buy it there. As Fallon mentioned, we're having our book launch event on September 22nd, which is National Hispanic Nurses Day. So you can sign up for that virtually to attend and to participate. And there's so many things that I'm working on. This book has really brought in so many more opportunities, but I do want it to continue to grow and evolve. I have plans for a workbook to accompany the book. We're definitely interested in doing a Spanish version as well as an audio book for it. Volume 2 is something else that I'm starting to work on. So a lot of good things that are happening. Um, Eventually, I would love for, after we recoup our investment from the sales, to have funds that would be able to go towards a scholarship as well. So that's one of the goals of the work and the mission. And with that, I'm really just trying to enjoy every day. The book dropped last Friday on the 1st, and it was exhilarating and it was fascinating. But then 5:30 came, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta go take a kid here and take a kid there. I gotta go do this. I gotta do that. So with all that, life is still going on. I'm still a mom. I'm
Mhm.
still, a wife, a daughter, a sister, a friend. And so I'm also just making sure that I'm making time for my support network, and I also call them my um, personal board members, my own board members that help me and keep me grounded. And so,
Uh-huh.
with that, I would just to say, you're not alone. Definitely make sure you can identify and really tap into your network that will help you with whatever journey you're on right now, because everybody's on a journey. And it was really awesome to speak with you, Fallon. I hope everybody enjoyed our time. And again, don't forget to follow us on Insta us as well, Latinas in underscore nursing. So we love to have you there as well.
Awesome, awesome. It's been such a great conversation. These are always like self-care conversations, I feel like. So I appreciate you just being open, transparent, just being real about your journey, your process,
Mhm.
and how you've come to this next level of your
Mhm.
purpose. You're finding your purpose, and it's a we're all evolving. So I love that, and I appreciate you and all the work that you've done for Latinas in nursing. Like, it does not go unseen, it does not go unheard. I'm gonna say it first, thank you so much for just
Mhm.
letting me be a part of this, inviting me into the part of it, and calling me brave. I was like, oh, I heard that, I'm
That's
brave.
right. Be proud of yourself. We made history, right? We
For
made
sure, for
history.
sure,
So
for sure.
be proud of
It's been
that.
beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Tina. I
Thank
will be
you.
talking to you very, very soon, friend.
Good.
Bye.
Bye.
Y'all, it's been too real with Dr. Tina on the podcast. I truly, truly appreciate her and the just sharing of the stories and the letting go of perfectionism that she shared with us, embracing the failures, embracing the journey, just enjoying your journey. Like, there were so many gems, so make sure you go check it out and listen to the podcast from the beginning, from season 4. It's been amazing, and I'm so thankful to all the guests that I've had on here, and especially Miss Tina, Dr. Tina. So make sure you go check out the show notes below. We will leave the link to all of the things that we're working on, Latinas in nursing. So I really truly appreciate you all for showing up and showing out. So before I go, make sure you like, subscribe, and join the nurse wellness community. The You Glow Nurse podcast. Make sure you share this episode with someone that you love, another nurse, so we can continue to spread this nurse wellness message to all. And I will see you next time. Bye.